All right. The attitudes that pleases Yahweh. In Matthew 5, verses 1 through 12. And seeing the multitude, he went on a mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of Yahweh. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteous sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Someone once called Matthew 5, verse 1 through 12, the B attitudes of faith. What's your attitude towards Yahweh? Yeshua lists several attitudes here in the first part of the Sermon on the Mount that challenges us all. Actually, they show the way to spiritual maturity in 8 steps. 4 are internal and preparational, and 4 are external and expressional. So let's take a look at these and hear the voice of our Master calling to us to hold his attitudes and practice them in our lives. And he saw the multitudes, and he went upon the mountain. And after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Okay, we getting this picture now? He opened his mouth and began to teach them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. And I love the way that Matthew begins this. Yeshua, the word of Elohim, is about to speak to us. Notice the compact detail here. He sees the multitude. He goes up. He sits down. He gathers the disciples. And then Matthew gets very specific. Yeshua opens his mouth. Right. So what's the point? Matthew's formality here depicts Yeshua as preparing to proclaim an oracle. Some translations cut out the formality here and just say, and he began to teach them, saying. NIV does this. I believe this is a mistake. Matthew intentionally drags out the details here in a threefold introduction. Yeshua opens his mouth. He teaches them. He is saying. Matthew could have simply put it, Yeshua said. But what follows is so important that Matthew doesn't want you to get there unprepared. So let's prepare ourselves for these words of our Master. Open your hearts and minds. Receive the lessons taught. Listen carefully to what Yeshua says. Blessed. 9 times Yeshua uses this word. It means one who has received a gift of or favor from Yahweh. We are not just talking about happy. Blessed is the opposite of cursed. One is a favor, the other is a punishment. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Who are these? People who recognize their own poverty spiritually are blessed by Yahweh. He's not talking about the money in your pocket or the amount of money in the bank or what you have at home. Blessed are the poor in spirit. This is the first step into the light of truth. It is the first step of recognizing our condition before Yahweh. To be poor in spirit is more than to be humble. It is like comparing myself to the perfection of Yeshua and seeing the truth and accepting it as truth. I not only do not measure up, but I am like a miserable beggar standing next to a king. Remember the story about the publican and the Pharisee Yeshua told about, who were going up to pray, and one bragged on himself before Yahweh. One wouldn't even look up, but begged, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. Which one was poor in spirit in his own eyes? Which one received Yahweh's blessing? Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Yeshua will begin and end these 8 steps talking about the kingdom of heaven. But the person who recognizes spiritual poverty can't just stop there. This is only the launch pad for abundant blessings from Yahweh. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. After recognizing my spiritual condition, it ought to bring me grief. Have you ever known someone who was deep into sin and knew it, but wasn't sorry about it at all? One who is honest about their spiritual poverty, but who is not moved to godly sorrow, cannot know Yahweh's grace. You can't see yourself as a sinner and look by faith at Yeshua suffering on the stake for our sins, not be moved to mourn. You think about it. I caused that. My sins, he's up there on that stake bleeding and in super pain because of my sins. But there's comfort in Messiah for the man who mourns because of his sin. In fact, this very attitude leads directly into the next. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. This word meek is translated gentle, submissive, and humble in other places. I'll follow Yeshua on this. A person sees his spiritual poverty. He grieves over it and comes in meekness before Yahweh, willing to submit to Yahweh's will and way found in the Torah. We also call it the Bible. Yeshua said Yahweh will give the whole world to people like that. All through the Bible, Yahweh sees the proud and takes their stuff away and gives it to the meek who love him. Yahweh humbles the proud and exalts the humbled. And then next, Yeshua says, blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Again, this naturally follows the meek person who comes to Yahweh in submission and now develops a spiritual hunger and thirst for what is right in Yahweh's eyes, not ours, in Yahweh. Righteousness. Yeshua says they will be filled. Have you noticed that nothing in this world truly satisfies? This world is full of promises that it cannot keep. It pacifies, but it never satisfies. But Yeshua pronounces Yahweh's blessings to satisfy us. Only when you have a heavenly appetite can you find full satisfaction. With this, we complete the internal attitudes. Notice how these now are applied to the life of one who follows after these blessings. Next, we look at 4 external that Yeshua pronounces Yahweh's blessings on. In verse 7, blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of Yahweh. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men cast insults at you and persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Look at verse 7. Blessed are the merciful. What do they get? Mercy. This follows on the heels of those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. People who want what is right so badly they can taste it may need the balance of this attitude. Don't love what is right so much that you fail to have mercy on those who are wrong. It's right to be merciful too. In fact, if you want mercy, show it to others. Giving it is the only way to get it. Aren't you thankful for merciful people? Mercy is a vital ingredient in any relationship. Can you imagine a marriage where mercy is missing? Imagine a congregation without mercy among the members. Showing mercy is the fruit of one who has seen his condition before Yahweh, who grieved over it, meekly submitted to Yahweh, and come out hungry for what is right in Yahweh's sight. Then see this all as a gift of Yahweh's grace. Merciful are those who recognize the mercy of Yahweh shown to them. But another balance comes next. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Mercy doesn't mean sacrifice and purity. Purity stands for clean. Purity stands for innocent. Purity is sincere. Yeshua shows us that our vision of Elohim is only clear when we have a pure heart. You can't see Yahweh and be a phony. You can't see Yahweh and have wrong motives in your heart. Pure-hearted people got that way by the earlier blessings of Yahweh. They had to see themselves in spiritual poverty, grieve over their sins, meekly submit to Yahweh, develop a taste for righteousness, become merciful. To these, Yahweh cleanses their heart and shows them himself. When you've seen Yahweh, you've found peace. More than that, it's time for you to help others find it. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of Yahweh. Think about that. Seeing Yahweh and being called his son or daughter. Wow, that's a blessing. Pure-hearted peacemakers. These are on the top of the list of the life Yahweh blesses. Notice Yeshua didn't say a peace lover. Some people don't really love peace. They just hate conflict. They flee every time they see conflict. Peacemakers are Yahweh's children, and they can't help but share the peace of Yahweh with others. Peacemakers enter the conflicts that darkness and sin bring into the lives of people. Peacemakers work to build the lives of people, to build Yahweh's peace there. Not everyone appreciates the peacemakers' work. There are many prosecutors out there. They don't see their own spiritual poverty and are offended when told the truth. You're judging me. Well, you're telling them what the laws are, what the truth is. They are not grieved over their sins. In fact, they embrace it. They are not submissive to Yahweh in meekness, but are filled with pride and blinded by selfishness. They are not hungry and thirsty for righteousness, but are driven by cravings of fleshly passions and sinful desires. Their cravings are never satisfied. Instead of mercy, they have tolerance for sin. Instead of pure hearts that see Yahweh, they have wicked hearts that see only darkness. Instead of making peace with Yahweh, they persecute his children. And so Yeshua concludes his Beatitudes with this final blessing. This one he stresses and elaborates on the most. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Then Yeshua makes it personal and directly applicable. Blessed are you when men cast insults at you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Now that's a position of spiritual maturity. A person who, like Yeshua, will endure suffering for the kingdom. The first suffering that receives a blessing is the suffering for sin within. The final suffering that receives a blessing is the suffering for sin without. Where are you on this ladder of blessings? Have you seen your spiritual poverty? Have you mourned over sin in your life and in other lives? Have you meekly submitted to the will of Yahweh? Have you developed a strong appetite for Yahweh's righteousness? Are you merciful towards others? Is your heart clean enough to see Yahweh? Are you building Yahweh's peace in the world around you? Are you enduring the world's resistance to Yeshua in your life? Yeshua says that the kingdom of heaven will surely be worth it all. You know, people endure hardships and difficulty in life for so much less. Is not the kingdom worth the sacrifice? Yahweh thought so. Yahweh thought so. That's why he sent Yeshua. Yahweh thought that saving you for his kingdom was worth sacrificing his only begotten son on the stake. Worth it? Will you say yes to Yeshua and Yahweh and no to sin? Or will you tell Yahweh and Yeshua to butt out of your life? What is your condition before Yahweh today, right now? Would Yeshua look at you today and say, blessed are you? Or would he say something else? Yeshua pronounced the blessings of Yahweh on these who hold these heavenly attitudes. Attitudes that please Yahweh. And when he saw the multitudes, he went on the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him, and opening his mouth, he began to teach them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of Yahweh. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men cast insults at you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. 8 steps and attitudes of maturity in the kingdom of Yahweh. Yahweh bless you with his beatitudes.